welcome home," a voice called out as I stepped through the door after a long day at work. The last person I expected to see was my ex-husband, who had vanished 3 years ago without a trace. "You're always late, making your husband wait. I'm starving. Is dinner ready?" he complained, as if he belonged there. Memories surged back, images of him shirking household responsibilities, shouting at me over trivial matters, abandoning me during our anniversary trip, and then disappearing from my life entirely. Now, he stood right in front of me, the man I had grown to despise more than anyone else. The words that slipped from my lips were icy. "Who are you?" He blinked in surprise. "My name is Hazel, and I'm turning 30 this year." These days, I lead a quiet life as a company employee, but I have a past with my husband, Steve, whom I married at 25. I met him through a friend's introduction. He was charming and confident, the complete opposite of my quiet, reserved self. I was drawn to his assertiveness, and soon we began dating. In the second year of our relationship, I accepted Steve's marriage proposal. After we tied the knot, we moved into an apartment my parents gifted us for our wedding. Everything seemed perfect, until the changes began. Once we were married, Steve's demeanor shifted dramatically. During our courtship, he was attentive and generous. Post-wedding, he turned distant. Despite both of us working, I found myself responsible for all the housework. His dirty laundry was left strewn about, trash accumulated, and he never once thanked me for cooking. He wouldn't even lift a finger to take out the garbage. After a month of this imbalance, I couldn't take it anymore. "Steve, we both work. Can't you help out a bit around here?" I asked, hoping for some cooperation. He sighed, clearly annoyed. "You know we're married, right, Hazel?" "Of course, but it's just common sense that both partners share the housework," I replied, taken aback by his response. "Not at all. It's normal for the wife to handle that after marriage." "What, you think your husband shouldn't help at home? That's ridiculous. If you don't want to be seen as a lazy husband, you should do your part," I shot back, but he merely turned on the TV, dismissing my concerns. A year into our marriage, I had resigned myself to managing everything alone. Steve began working longer hours, often coming home late and even working weekends. There were weeks where we barely exchanged a word. One evening, he returned home early, and I saw it as an opportunity. "Hey, Steve, are you still swamped with work?" I ventured. "Yeah, kind of," he replied tersely. "You've been coming home after midnight lately. Maybe it's time to consider a new job?" "Mind your own business," he snapped, making me flinch. "I'm just worried about you," I said softly. "Stop with the unnecessary concerns, just leave me alone." After that, his routine became predictable: late nights, sleep, and early mornings. We had become strangers in our own home. I knew I had to act. As our anniversary approached, I seized the moment. "Hey, Steve, isn't our anniversary coming up during the holidays?" "Yeah, I guess," he said, loosening his tie. "Let's take a trip together," I suggested, trying to sound upbeat. "A trip? That could be nice. I'll pay for it," he replied after a pause. "Great, just keep that date free, and I'll take care of everything," I said, relief flooding through me. As the day of the trip drew closer, I poured my energy into planning, but when the morning arrived, Steve hadn't come home since he left for work the day before. Our departure was set for 10 a.m., and I felt the anxiety rising as time slipped away. Desperately, I called him multiple times, but he didn't answer. Finally, around noon, I got a call from him. "We're supposed to go on a trip today, right? Where are you?" I pressed, anxiety threading through my voice. "Sorry, work is running late," he said nonchalantly. "We have check-in soon, so can you head over and check in for us? I'll catch up." "Wait, are you really coming?" I asked, my heart sinking. "I told you I would." "Bye," he said, abruptly hanging up. I stood there, stunned. Time was running out, and I needed to leave. I had envisioned checking in with Steve and exploring together, but now I was heading to our destination alone, my hopes fading with every passing moment. As I checked into the hotel, I noticed the staff's surprised expressions upon seeing me alone. My reservation was for two. I explained that my husband would be arriving later, and they kindly escorted me to our room. Outside, rain began to pour, mirroring the turmoil inside me. I waited anxiously for Steve to arrive. An hour passed, then two, and still, he didn't show. To make matters worse, he hadn't even called. With our dinner reservation slipping away, I tried reaching him several times, but all I got was his voicemail. Finally, feeling defeated, I swallowed my pride and asked the hotel to prepare dinner for one, which I ate in solitude. The meal was lavish and beautifully presented, but no matter how exquisite the dishes were, they felt hollow without Steve. Each bite tasted bland, and tears blurred my vision as I tried to hold back my emotions. When the staff inquired about the cake adorned with a "happy anniversary" plate, I could only muster a quiet, "Please discard it." That day, I spent my anniversary alone. Despite having a sightseeing tour scheduled for the following day, I cancelled it and rushed home, my mind racing with worry about what might have happened to Steve. "I'm home, Steve," are you back? I called out as I entered the house. Silence greeted me, and there was no sign of him. I dropped my luggage and glanced at the dining table, where I found divorce papers signed by Steve, along with my wedding ring. What is this? What's happening? I exclaimed in shock. I frantically searched for a letter, but there was none. It was clear that all his belongings had been taken. He had vanished without a trace. Overwhelmed, I sank into a chair, trying to process the reality of it all. Once I regained my composure, I immediately called my mother-in-law. Though we had only met a few times, she had always been kind to me. When I explained what had happened, she too was taken aback. She hadn't heard from Steve and confirmed that he hadn't gone to his parents' house either. After the holiday, I reached out to Steve's office, only to receive shocking news. Mr. Smith resigned last month, the receptionist said. What? I gasped. We've been trying to reach him too but haven't had any luck since yesterday. Could you please tell him to contact us as soon as possible? They requested. As I ended the call, a daze settled over me. I felt utterly lost. I pulled out my cell phone and dialed Steve's number, but all I heard was, "The number you dialed is currently not in use." Just like that, he had vanished. After a series of arduous steps, I submitted the signed divorce papers and forcibly ended our marriage. Time passed, and 3 years later, I found myself happily remarried, living a peaceful life. Initially, I was heartbroken, but now thoughts of my ex-husband rarely crossed my mind. They say time heals all wounds, and it certainly had. One evening, after another long day at work, I returned home alone and noticed something odd. The lights were on. That's strange. Did I forget to turn them off this morning? I wondered. As I reached for the doorknob, I realized the front door was unlocked. My heart raced when I spotted a pair of worn men's sneakers at the entrance, sneakers I didn't recognize. Just as I was about to call the police, a familiar figure appeared in the doorway. "Oh, welcome home, Hazel," he said casually. "What?" I gasped. Standing before me was none other than Steve, my long-lost ex-husband. Shock rendered me speechless. Without acknowledging my surprise, he continued, "You're late again. You've kept your husband waiting. I'm starving. Is dinner ready yet?" His flippant remarks unleashed a torrent of memories from 3 years prior. The way he dumped all the household chores on me as if it were my obligation. His unreasonable yelling, standing me up during our anniversary trip, and then vanishing completely. And now, here he was, the man I despised more than anyone, standing right in front of me. My voice came out icy and detached. "Who are you?" "Huh?" Steve blinked, taken aback. I returned his gaze sharply, my resolve hardening. "Leave now, or I'll call the cops." Wait a minute. You can't tell me you've forgotten your husband's face," he shot back, wearing a smug grin. But upon closer inspection, I noticed he had put on weight, let his hair and beard grow wild, and looked utterly disheveled compared to the man I once knew. Holding back my revulsion, I shot back, "Stay back." "What do you mean by husband?" he asked, feigning innocence. "Come on, we're still married, aren't we? Just because we haven't seen each other doesn't mean you can forget." "What are you talking about? I filed for divorce a long time ago. We're strangers now," I declared firmly. The look on Steve's face was like he had been struck by lightning, eyes wide, mouth agape. He stammered, "Why would you do that?" "You left signed divorce papers, didn't you?" I replied, my irritation mounting. "What, you took it seriously? Did you really submit it?" His flustered tone was dripping with self-pity. I glared at him, disgust washing over me. "Is that a problem?" "Of course it is. I didn't intend to get divorced at all." "What? I thought you'd wait for me. I didn't think you'd actually go through with it." My patience snapped at his pathetic attempts to play the victim. "Wait for you? You abandoned everything 3 years ago to live with your mistress, didn't you?" I pointed out. The moment I said that, he looked astonished. After he disappeared, I had hired a private investigator to track him down. The report I received 6 months later was beyond comprehension. He had been having an affair with a coworker for at least half a year before he left, and their relationship had become an open secret at the office. Eventually, they both quit their jobs and started living together in a neighboring state. With that revelation, I filed for divorce. My love for him had evaporated entirely. I had been working hard to forget the past, yet now he stood before me, audaciously barging into my life again. I regretted not changing the locks the moment he left. "No, Hazel, you've got it all wrong," Steve pleaded, desperation creeping into his voice. "What's there to misunderstand? I have all the evidence from the investigator." "Go back to her," I snapped, fury rising in me. That's not possible. We broke up. We've been fighting a lot lately. I don't care about her anymore. Hazel, you're the only one for me." His voice dripped with desperation as he clung to my arm, but I shook him off. Disgust etched across my face. "I've told you, you're not my husband. How dare you dictate to me, a stranger to you? I only love you. Let's start our married life over. We can go to the city hall right now and reapply for our marriage certificate. Come on, let's go." Steve tugged at my arm, desperation etched on his face. I was about to pull out my cell phone to call the police when the front door swung open. Who are you? Let go of her, a commanding voice interrupted. Steve's grip slackened as he turned, surprise flooding his features. I dashed toward the source of the voice. Who are you? Steve demanded, eyes narrowing. My husband, I replied, clinging to the man who had just stepped in. He gently soothed me before addressing Steve in a low, firm tone. You're Steve Smith, right? Hazel's ex-husband? Yes, that's me, Steve replied, bewildered. But you're her husband? Steve doesn't understand the situation, so let me clarify, my husband said, his voice steady. I've been remarried for a while now, which is why I've been telling you that you're a stranger. My new husband, John Collins, is a colleague I met at work. He'd shown interest in me since we joined the company. At first, he stepped back when he learned I was married, but once he found out about my divorce, he was relentless in pursuing me. Initially wary of men, I hesitated to accept his feelings. However, as I got to know John's sincere and earnest character, I gradually opened my heart to him. One day, looking deeply into my eyes, he promised, I will never leave you alone, Hazel. I will protect you for the rest of my life. Will you marry me? Tears of joy filled my eyes as I accepted his proposal, and since then, I've been moving forward, leaving the past behind. As John confronted Steve, I could see the fear wash over my ex-husband's face. When Steve attempted to flee toward the door, I called out, hold it right there. My voice trembled with fear. Steve looked back, his expression shifting to one of defiance. You'll be paying alimony. You're still within the statute of limitations, so you'll face consequences for your infidelity. I'm not working right now. I don't have any money, Steve stammered, panic evident in his eyes. I couldn't care less. If you don't pay, I'll take you to court. Don't forget that, John warned, glaring at Steve. With an apologetic glance, Steve turned and dashed away, tail between his legs. In the quiet aftermath, I turned to my husband. I'm so sorry about all this. I never expected him to show up after all this time. It's okay, it must have shocked you, too, Hazel. From now on, just let me know if anything happens. I'll protect you with everything I've got, John said, pulling me into a comforting embrace. In the following days, I learned that Steve had returned to his parents' home. My former mother-in-law contacted me, agreeing to handle the alimony payments. She said that Steve would work off his debt on their family farm. I truly hope that the proud and selfish Steve can change and learn to be honest, but I have no desire to be involved with him ever again. Having learned from this experience, I decided to move to a new apartment, and on top of everything, I recently discovered that I'm pregnant with John's child. He is overjoyed at the news, and I know we're on our way to building a happy family together.